Welcome to Veteran Resource Podcast, where you will meet nonprofit organizations focused on improving the lives of veterans and their family members. Here is your host, Jeremy Paris.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 66 of the Veteran Resource Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Paris. And today, for Veteran News Tuesday, I've got an article from the Baltimore Sun that was put out on November 8th, 2016. It's titled, "A Soldier Battling PTSD Reported That He Wanted to Hurt His Commanders. They Disciplined Him." We're going to jump into that right now. Okay, so just to go over the facts that I'm getting directly from the article and from a couple other articles that I found, what I can see is that Specialist Scott Miller, who was a helicopter pilot and was also diagnosed with PTSD, he deployed a couple of times to Afghanistan. And at some point, his suicidal thoughts switched over to homicidal thoughts, and he started to have these feelings about killing members of his command. And so he shared these feelings with his wife, and she dropped what she was doing and took him to the hospital so that he can be evaluated and he can start down the pathway to get help. The social worker that he talked to then reported him, and that eventually resulted in him dropping rank and also getting kicked out of the military. So that's roughly the facts that I have from reading through this. There's a lot of different components here that I want to dive into. First off, reading another article, it said that his wife, Felicia, was having some feelings of guilt because she's the one who, as soon as he told her, she said, "Come on, let's go," and took him to go get help at the hospital. So she's feeling some guilt over that. And I just want to stop and say that, Felicia, you did nothing wrong. If anything, you should get a commendation for what you did. I mean, you stopped what you were doing. You immediately dropped everything and went and found a babysitter so that you could drive your husband 40 minutes to get to the hospital so that he could immediately be evaluated and start getting treatment. That is exactly what a loving, supporting military spouse should do in this situation. So hats off to you, Felicia. Thank you. But then we get into the fact that he got disciplined over this. So the military law that it appears he broke, I'm not a lawyer by any means, but it apparently speaks to the fact that he threatened members of his command. But he didn't. He didn't directly threaten his commanders. He didn't directly threaten anybody. He wasn't even sitting around with a bunch of his buddies drinking, saying, "Yeah, someday I'm going to get a pipe and beat my commanders to death." That didn't happen either. He went to go get help. He recognized that he had a problem. He recognized that he was thinking the way that a normal person shouldn't be thinking, and he went to go get help. He told these things not to his buddies. He told these things directly to a counselor. And then that came back to haunt him in the future. I really don't like what this says to other members of the military who might be feeling similar thoughts. They might be having some PTSD symptoms, and they might now try to hide them, repress them so that they don't get in trouble over them. And the quote that they have in here by Specialist Scott Miller says, "I know I'm not going to get better if I'm not honest with my feelings and thoughts." He recognized he's having these feelings, he's having these thoughts, these homicidal thoughts. And he knows that they're wrong. He knows that he's having some mental, emotional challenges, and he knows that he can get better. But he has to be honest and open, and he has to get down to the root of what those feelings are. And you do that by going and talking to a counselor. You do that by getting connected with a mental health specialist. Now, I tried doing some more searches around, and I'm not seeing a lot of other cases that are like this, where people are getting disciplined over PTSD symptoms. But maybe they're out there. maybe some of you listeners can inform me, can tell me about what is going on in whether or not you know somebody or if you yourself have experienced some of this stigma from PTSD. And if there's anybody out there who is feeling like they're being disciplined over these things, then I recommend that you reach out to an organization that specializes in legal needs for veterans and see if you can get help. I know that there's an appeals process. I know that there's ways to get discharges upgraded. There's different things that can help you, but you're not going to know about them if you don't reach out to these organizations to find out. One episode that we had on the show was episode 26 with Kevin Miller of Swords to Plowshares. And I know that they provide legal assistance. So you can go back and you can listen to episode 26, or you can go to veteranresourcepodcast.com/026 to find that episode. And you can follow the link to get over to their organization and connect and find out if they can help you. I know that they do a lot of work in the San Francisco area, but I remember him also mentioning that they help around the country as well. So that would be a good place to start. And another one that I found, and I'm going to try to get them on the show, I already sent out an invite to the National Veterans Legal Services Program, or also known as the NVLSP. It looks like they also provide similar services around the country. So I recommend, if anybody is having some legal issues, you feel like you're not being treated properly as a veteran, I recommend that you reach out to these organizations or do a search, find some more organizations. Check out the veterandirectory.org. There might be something in there around your area that fits your needs. But I recommend that you go and you reach out and you get connected with one of these organizations and try to get some help, because things like this, in my opinion, aren't right. And people like Scott Miller, who is reaching out and asking for help, who knows that they need some help, and they also know that they can get better by reaching out and getting the treatment that is appropriate for them. Scott Miller should not be disciplined over something like this. I would love to get your opinion on this. Tweet at me if you want. I'm at ParisJ13. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if you don't agree with me. I am open to conversation on both sides. And once again, I don't have all the facts. I only have what the reporter wrote. So some of you might have more information about this case. And if you do, let me know. You could send me a tweet. You can email me, jeremy@veteranpodcast.com. You can jump into the community that I created, which you can get to by going to veteranresourcepodcast.com/community. There's a lot of different ways for you to get in contact with me, and I would love to get the conversation started. Okay, that's all I have for you today. It's election day. I need to get out of here and go and vote. I hope that all of you are going out there and voting. And I also hope that you're doing your research into not just the presidential candidates, but all of the other people that you can be voting for, especially your representatives in Congress who are supposed to be specifically representing you. So do your research, find out who it is that you want to vote for, get in there and vote. That's all I got for you today. I'll see you tomorrow for an awesome interview with Bill Rausch of Got Your Six. Make sure you check that one out. I'll see you in episode 67.